As regards the terrorists, yes, I'm happy. And the villagers themselves said they saw terrorists that died as a result of the strike.
Yeah.
In fact, Riley Moore, the lawmaker in America, was one of those that said, oh, we got a good report from the strike that it did affect them. The villagers are happy, they're feeling relieved. So for all of those that first argued in the first place, that why would they strike Sokoto? It's supposed to be Borno, that argument nullified. For people like Sheikh Gumi with all of his incendiary comments, hope he understands that we need to be able to fight terrorism. And if we don't fight terrorism, Nigeria won't be free. So with all of his comments that he will have rather we have Turkey do the work by calling the American terrorists and saying, no, we don't want unholy hands to come. For good measure, if I can extrapolate this talk about unholy hands, Turkey too has skirmishes going on. And it's not all huru for them. What we are saying is, how can we stop this insecurity ravaging our country, causing destruction of lives and property? I think that should be the priority. And for all of those that are telling their darns that, oh, it's against us. No, it's because we want results. And I'm sure they can watch this video done by Ferdinand that the villagers are actually happy for it. So we must be careful in phrasing this narrative. As regards the governor going, I'm not surprised. You dangle any carrot at any of the governors, they'll go. Because they want political preservation. But it is the people I have to talk to. The same people that talked to NMPP was it. They were going to fight for the governor. We all remember how Kanu almost went in flames after, I think it was the Court of Appeal ruled in favor of the APC. So you see that these politicians are all the same now. So when it suits the governor, all of those that said they were going to stick their neck out for the Kwankwasia movement, you have forgotten about them. And that's why the power truly should reside with the people and all these political actors, because all they are concerned about is keeping themselves in power. I remember one particular incident, how people fought for this governor. Then he was still a candidate. And I think he was harassed by the police detail of somebody, of a wife of a top person in authority in this country. I remember how people rallied him and all of that. Today he's gotten to power. The same government that person leaned towards, he's gone to the APC. Right. So it's only when it favors them. And with this, it also shows that Kwankwaso might probably pitch his tent with the APC. Because I'm not sure he'll be able to take this decision without Kwankwaso. Right. So, that's politics for you.
Dr. Bati, your take on this story.
Okay, starting with Kanu. The story is not new. We have been told before now that there was an attempt by the APC machinery, by the Tinubu strategic team, to suck Dr. Kwankwaso into the APC fold. Now, the conversation has been ongoing, but we also got to know that Kwankwaso was not too forthcoming, maybe perhaps of the conditions that he had been given. So, you now find President Tinubu going to the governor. The NNPP has only one state in Nigeria. Now, before now, Ganduje, Abdullahi Ganduje, who is the main man from the Kano establishment in the Tinubu arrangement as chairman of the party, he was eased out quietly. And now, they've now gone for the governor. And we are hearing that the governor is likely to capitulate to increase the number of state governors that have joined the APC from 28 to 29. And to make the APC the clear majority party in the country indisputably, and to create a situation, as some have argued, that we are going towards a one-party state. However, I would like to end the story by what Governor Seyi Makinde said in his recent media chat. He said, okay, a party can have the majority number of states. After all, in 2015, the PDP had the majority number of states on its side, but he still lost the election. In Oyo State, where he contested in 2019 and won, the PDP was in a minority situation, but he won. He cited some other examples. In other words, he's saying that it's the people that matter. The fact that the APC takes over the governor and the House of Assembly, and by the way, the NNPP in Kano State is divided on this matter. It's not as if everybody is following the governor. Now, they have 44 local governments. Is there any guarantee that the people, because that was Seyi Makinde's point, that the people are the ones who matter? It's the people who will vote. If you don't rig the election and the people say, this is where we want to go, there is nothing that you can do. You can have state governors declaring for their own selfish reasons. After all, the ultimate purpose of joining politics is to win, is to preserve yourself. I think it would be delusionary for most Nigerians to think that, oh, Mr. X is going to government with the way we are in this country to come and serve you. No, he's going there to serve himself and his family. This is the low point that we have reached, with the lowest 11 in our country serving the best 11, because the best 11 will not even try to go near politics. But we'll see what the outcome will be. We have not heard from Governor Yusuf of Kano State, so the ball is in his court for him to say, oh, I'm going to the APC. Otherwise, whatever we do at this point is purely speculative. Now, that's that about that. Now, as for Tangasa residents saying that there were killings, now, in any form of military action, you must expect collateral damage. You must expect that there will be, casualties. If the United States unleashed about a dozen Tomahawk missiles, Professor Mensham, in his commentary, a leading American professor of political science, has told us in a commentary, although he says America is committing suicide because America is not omnipotent, and that Nigeria should go and sort out its problems, he was saying that one missile costs about $2 million. So the U.S. will spend about $24 million, not to talk of other logistics financing, just to come and waste resources. Of course, there was prior intelligence, which they say was provided by the Nigerian government, so there must be targets. And they said it was precision bombing. So somebody coming out and say some people were killed, that's no news. In a situation like this, there must be, collateral damages, and precision strike means that there will be damages. The extent, the nature of which we still expect the Nigerian government and the American government to tell us. So it's not picking up street gossip. Tangasa residents saying some people were killed. No, that's not what we need. What we need is concrete information. Whether it is classified or unclassified, an averagely intelligent person must know that there must have been casualties. Now, the third is Mr. Wale Edun, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, issuing a statement saying that, now that the markets have reopened in Nigeria today, December 29, that, look, the market is doing well, the economy is doing well, the intervention by the United States, he says, has not affected the economy. We're still in a very stable condition. My question is, what do you expect him to say? But the truth, however, are in the details that he pointed out. That for 7 consecutive months, inflation has been going down. That 2, the stock market in Nigeria is doing very well. That 3, that the Tinubu administration is committed to dealing with whatever issues may arise, either with banditry or terrorism. 4, that the operation, the joint operation by Nigeria and the United States was about terrorism. It was not a war situation. So everything that he said, I agree with. He wants to protect the market and reassure investors, institutional partners, and players, stakeholders within the Nigerian economy. My concern, however, which I think is a major point, in my view, is that I hope they have not reduced the coordinating minister of the economy to the level of Mr. Bayo Ononuga, where he will just be issuing press statements. Because recently there was a reorganization in that ministry where Dr. Doris Aniti has now been put in charge of revenue generation and cash management, which is the big business, big assignment in the Ministry of Finance. So, I don't want to be nasty, but it will look like, with this statement, yes, Mr. Wale spoke well. He made all the points about credit rating going up, the economy being healthy, and that no investor should be scared by what happened on December 25, and that Nigeria is not at war. But he's the one issuing press statement now. It is Doris Aniti, who is now the one who is going to manage revenue, manage cash management. So what is his job? So even in the management of finances of Nigeria, there seems to be some trouble there. But it is too early for us to make the call in terms of what the real situation is. We will see when Doris Aniti begins to assert herself, and then we'll see whether Mr. Wale Edun is still part of the equation or not. If he's no longer part of the equation, the honorable thing to do will be for him to resign and step aside. So nobody is indispensable. So the Minister of Finance being the one to issue press statements, I think it looks a bit tacky. However, it is important that the budget, whether it's 2024, they are operating 2025 or 2026, is properly cash-backed. And that Nigeria's cash is properly managed. And that revenue generation remains a priority. The president, in an express directive, has now given that assignment to Dr. Doris Aniti.
All right. Well, Mr. Wale Edun, he's said the right things, and I would assume that based on the criticism, some of the criticisms that has faced this administration following the U.S. airstrikes, the collaboration with the Nigerian government is information management and the lack thereof in certain instances whereby we now allow foreign powers to lead the conversation when it comes to information management. So perhaps from his perspective, from his ministry, he's been staying on top of things by ensuring that he's sending out the right note, the right confidence to project or to promote confidence in investors. And that's very well so as the markets open today, as I mentioned earlier on. And perhaps that's just to say, and he said the right things. We then also understand and see the importance or the effect or the impact of insecurity on the economy, the impact of insecurity on investor confidence. There might have been some jitters, cold feet, based on the perception around insecurity, terrorism in Nigeria, the fact that some people have opined that, they're at war. What this then means that, yes, we know that the terrorism happens in Nigeria, but now there are now airstrikes happening there. It means it's a very serious situation. Maybe the economy might become unstable and the like. So in him coming out to make that statement, I believe he was preempting that, and we want to see more of this from the government. We do not want the US to lead when it comes to information around security and insecurity for Nigeria. We want the Nigerian government. We said they didn't do enough. And I think going back to the Sokoto story, I think it's quite unfortunate that days afterwards, we do not have a formal statement based on reports. Maybe, it might be due to security concerns, but I believe that the Nigerian people deserve to know what really happened, the efforts that were being made in Sokoto, the outcome, the impact, and things like that. But I'm glad that we had Ferdinand there with that report, Tangaza area, where he had gone to speak to some of the locals. I think it's important because last week Friday, one of the things that we emphasized on was misinformation, and the fact that the people most affected by terrorism are the residents who live in the northern region of Nigeria. And if anything, they should see this as a welcome development. Despite what some propagandists had begun to say that, oh, this is unholy, or this and that, this is not good, the focus should be on the benefits of the Nigerian people, especially when this government has shown a seriousness to tackling insecurity and demonstrated that they would not be folding their hands whilst they see people killed in the northern region and across the country based on terrorism, banditry and kidnapping. So great to hear some of the residents speak and even hear from them the effects that the activities of the Lakurawa terrorist group have had in that area. Another thing that he brought out from that report, which I think it's important to note, was based on the eyewitness of residents there that they saw some terrorists fleeing. Now, when terrorists flee following airstrikes like this, they may take advantage of porous borders, weak state weakness to go into, to hide temporarily in certain areas. For the Lakurawa, Sokoto, Kebbi state that borders with Niger, this is where areas where they might disperse to. So the big question would then be, what is the Nigerian government, especially the military, doing to mop up fleeing terrorists to ensure that they don't go elsewhere, regroup, and continue their terrorist activities? And that's why in the early days, when we had talked about a collaboration between Nigeria and the United States, we had said that in addition to providing intelligence from the Nigerian side of things, the post effect, the mop-up will be done by the Nigerian military, and that's why it is important that the US works in collaboration with them. And so what we're looking at is that to ensure that they are not hiding in the forests, in the surrounding area, they are not also infiltrating, moving closer to the south, we must ensure that the terrorists who fled must be mopped up, must be apprehended, must be caught. There must be, following actions after that airstrike in Sokoto State. As has been said, it's the first of others to come, and so we're looking forward to ensuring that as the US has worked with the Nigerian government to for precision strikes in Sokoto, we also believe that those who are fleeing as well should be apprehended. We work with our neighboring countries, especially Niger at this time, to ensure that they do not house these terrorists temporarily, for them to regroup and come back to continue, their atrocities. Now, moving on to